It would figure when I come out to do a video that my sinuses want to start acting up. So, anyway, here it goes. When I was younger, my first daughter, she stayed in the hospital a lot because she had Down syndrome. And my dad had come up to the hospital one time to visit. And he used to come up and we'd go smoke and buy coffee and, you know, it would chit chat and he would just visit, see the baby and everything while she was up there. And one day we went out to go smoke and we went down the elevators, leaving the intensive care spot, and had to go down 4 floors to the admitting area. Once we got to the admitting, we had to walk off to the side, and we had to go down an elevator 1 more floor to the doors where we would go out to smoke. And the doors closed on the elevator. It's just me and my dad, 1 floor, and he just lets out the worst sounding fart I've ever heard in my entire life. Thank God the elevator stopped and the door opened, because it was about to get real. The elevator doors open, and I ran out of that elevator like I was on a fire. And there were 2 guys waiting to get on the elevator, and as the doors closed on the elevator, these guys just start screaming it wasn't really as much screaming as it was like, holy shit, this elevator stinks! I looked over at my dad, and he had the biggest shit-eating grin on his face that I've ever seen in my entire life. I have never seen my dad smile that big. Ever. It was fucking funny. My older brother, we call him Toby, he was crazy. He did a lot of crazy shit when I was younger. And one of his favorite things to do was to moon people. Showing his ass was something he did it at least twice a day, every day, until he passed away. And one time, when I was younger, of course, his son, my nephew, was probably maybe 2, 3 years old, and he decided that he was gonna moon either him or maybe it was his wife at the time, I don't really know, but he mooned somebody in the living room of his house. His first mistake was doing it with his son in the room. His son, being 2 or 3, like I said, he walked up and he karate chopped my brother's ass. And when his hand hit my brother's ass crack, my brother stood up and he clenched his ass cheeks as hard as he could, screaming, "What the hell? Whoa!" Well, after all that being said, he had his son's hand still stuck in his butt cheeks because he was clenched so hard, his tiny little hands couldn't get out of his butt cheek. So here's my older brother screaming in agony because his butt hurts, and my nephew screaming torture because his hand stuck in his dad's butt cheek. Now, I won't lie, I laughed my ass off. No pun intended.